time for movies on Rock and Gold Radio. It's Meet Me in the Foyer with Linda Marek and Jawa.
Meet Me in the Foyer.
Tonight only, the fabulous Linda and Jawa movie reviews. The famous Meet Me in the Foyer review. Check it out, tonight only. Apart from the other nights each week, the fabulous Meet Me in the Foyer review. Tell your friends, free parking, free entry. That's a lot of entertainment for your movie pleasure. Because brothers and sisters, you've seen the light and accepted the invitation to Meet Me in the Foyer for film reviews, news and chats that won't leave you blue, but instead will bond us like brothers. And the universe has bestowed upon us great fortune as we are once again joined by the critic's choice and the choice critic indeed. So get up and shake your tail feather as we're joined by the one and only Linda Marek. How are you doing, Linda?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad, yes.
Good,
a little bit hot and
good.
flustered, but not bad at all.
Yeah. We both have things. We are both dealing with things.
That's right, yes. Personal life is trying to encroach upon our special movie time, but we're going to lock the doors and for an hour, just relax and enjoy some movie chat.
Forget it all.
And so, Linda, of course, we're going to be talking news, reviews, and the box office top 10 to come soon. But what reviews will you be disclosing upon us this week?
I will be reviewing, obviously, Disclosure Day, the
Yes.
new Steven Spielberg movie that I've been excited about for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying anymore. And I will be reviewing a film that's not coming out until next month, mostly because I really liked it. I saw it, I was invited to an early screening, and I really enjoyed it. And I shouldn't say I really enjoyed it. You can cut this bit.
No, that's fine.
I saw it early, and I wanted to talk about it because I found it really interesting. It's a movie called The Invite, directed by Olivia Wilde, starring Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogan, as well as two other people who are excellent in it. I will leave that bit till later.
Fabulous. Looking forward to both of those. But hold on, I'm coming with my very own classic movie review. But before you give me some loving, and everybody needs somebody to love, we've also got the movie news. And as always, the box office top 10. So let's begin at the box office.
Meet Me in the Foyer.
It's box office top 10 time, so as it stands, as we record, at number 10, it's Tuna in its second week on release. That's now made $1 million at the UK box office.
Wow,
Fabulous.
very good. I'm so pleased for that movie. Such a good movie.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to catching it eventually. And for anyone who's not too sure, catch Linda's review on a previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
Above that, at number 9, is The Devil Wears Prada 2 in its 6th week on release. It's made $33 million. And once again, as you would expect, you can catch Linda's review on a previous episode. It's number 8, still herding people into the cinemas. It's The Sheep Detectives on its 5th week on release. It's made $9.2 million. And yes, you won't be surprised to find you can catch one of Linda's reviews on a previous episode. It's becoming a catchphrase of the show. But that's because we cover them all. At number 7, starting to drop, but still in the top 10 in its 8th week on release, having made $50 million at the UK box office. I'm talking about Michael. And yes, you can catch one of Linda's reviews on a previous episode. Dropping a bit faster, it's only been out 2 weeks. At number 6, it's Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Made $13 million.
A movie that's had a bit of a kicking from certain people, which I totally disagree with, and I think it is what it is. It's a small movie. It might be big budget, but it is a small movie. It is an adaptation from a TV series, and it's in the world of Star Wars without being a big Star Wars movie. It's a smaller Star Wars movie, a less sort of headline grabbing Star Wars movie, and it's really good and it's fun. So and it's made its money, so it's not a flop. I know I've read elsewhere that it is flopping and this and that. People like to exaggerate nowadays.
Yes.
If a film is not making like $1 billion, then it's a flop. I think it's a good movie, and I like everyone in it. That's it.
Fantastic. And above that, another popular one at the box office and a popular one with Linda, as you can catch on her review from a few weeks back. Having made 10 million now at the UK box office in its 4th week on release, it's Obsession at number 5.
Well, not just, I'm not the only fan of it, really. I mean, it's doing so well, and it's again, it started the whole conversation around the internet and around film, not just on the internet, also in the media, about these new young guns in the film industry who are managing to make movies on a shoestring, and who are reigniting the sort of the passion for cinema in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and like, you know, I can't possibly be against that, you know. As we were saying last week, some are calling it the best movie of the year. It isn't. You know, it's a really good horror movie made by a young director who clearly knows what he's doing, and it's done very well, and it's proper creepy, you know. It's not like one of those like jump scare kind of horrors. It's proper creepy and very clever and very well done. You didn't like it as much as I did, but I still think it's a really good movie.
I agree. I think it's a very good movie, but just not my first choice if I were heading to the box office. And creepy is the exactly right term for it. It's certainly got many moments where you start to feel the hairs on your back of your neck stand up and your skin start to crawl a little bit. Yeah, very, very good. And another film above that, actually, that fits into the sort of horror quotation marks category, that's been absolutely going gangbusters at the box office in its 2nd week on release. At number 4, it's Backrooms. It's made 8.6 million at the UK box office.
Backrooms is a good movie as well. Again, a fabulous movie made by a very young director who, you know, the doors of Hollywood have opened for him. I hope he picks his next project, you know, with, let's say, it's going to be hard for him. Yes. You know, what that happens, because the expectation is humongous, and I have a feeling that he is the real deal. Let's see.
Be interesting to see what he does next. Absolutely. And above that, sort of a big blockbuster fare, reviewed by Linda on last week's show. It's Masters of the Universe, which has made 2.6 million at the UK box office, which I have to consider a fairly soft opening for a film of that scale. Yeah,
it is. It's fun. It's campy. It's it's nostalgic, and it's tons of fan service, which isn't a bad thing. I don't want to get to a point where I'm being complimentary of every movie that ever comes out. You know, there are plenty of bad movies that I'm not happy to see, but I just think if you have that kind of fondness for He-Man, the animation or the original movie, then you're gonna love it. If not, if you're one of those sort of people who get nothing out of nostalgia, then you're not gonna feel any way about it. I thought it was fun. I wasn't expecting to like it, and I ended up really liking it. I had fun.
Fair enough. And it's a strange top 2 this week, because at number 2 is a film or something showing at cinemas that I had no idea what it was and had to look it up. It's called The Amazing Digital Circus: The Last Act. It's made 2.6 million, and upon Googling, it turns out to be an Australian independent adult animated web series. So, who knows?
Absolutely never heard of it.
No, me neither. But that's gone straight in at number 2 in the UK box office, and will probably drop straight back out again next week.
Very weird.
All of which means that on its 1st week on release, shame on you all, don't you pay attention. At number 1, it's Scary Movie, that's made 4 million in its 1st week on release.
Sink into the chair. high as fuck. Me too, cuz. Me three, my nigga.
Ghostface is still killing folks.
You know what they say about the crazy ones? They got the best.
You suck! Boo your ass!
Get the fuck out!
Scary movie. Only in theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
We're here to drink, play bad music, do some half gay shit.
Why just half gay? There's a serial killer on the loose.
There's only one person who knows how to stop him.
You came. Not in like 15 years, honey.
Why y'all acting so scared? The gun ain't even loaded. Uh-oh, I did it again.
That was fun.
Scary movie. Coming soon.
Possibly the worst movie ever made in history. Absolutely awful. No storyline, no laughs. I didn't laugh once. Not once. The parody is terrible. Everything about it is terrible. It's sexist. It's homophobic. It's transphobic. It's everything. You know, all the above. Don't go and see it. You will only encourage them to make more.
And
I suspect it won't be. Yeah, it's awful. I suspect it won't be at number one next week. Disclosure Day will probably be at number one. Let's see.
Probably right. Yes, absolutely. And that's the very strange box office top 10 for this week.
Indeed.
Meet me in the foyer.
So, an American remake of a European movie next, which always fills me with dread after such duds as Vanilla Sky, Dinner for Schmucks, Father's Day, The Jackal, The Man with One Red Shoe, 9 Months, and Taxi. Not that they're all bad, though, because there are exceptions like Three Men and a Baby and Three Fugitives and The Birdcage. And of course, most successfully of all, Some Like It Hot. But anyway, this is a film called The Invite, with a very well-known cast, including Olivia Wilde, who is also director of what I believe is her third feature film. So RSVP ASAP, as here's Linda with The Invitation.
What is this?
That's a rug.
Did you buy this rug because the neighbors are coming?
Oh my God. Joe, you remember Peanut Hog?
Bit of a contentious environment in here, so I understand.
We love a contentious environment.
She's fine, but he is a fucking weirdo.
You know, they seem cool, and she's so pretty.
Have you got tequila?
Joe, put on some music.
What kind of music you into, Hawk?
What is Sade?
What is Sade?
She loves that.
We only get a few chances for meaningful relationships in life.
What is going on here?
This is fucking crazy.
Can we please do a reset?
Is this from a podcast?
Yes, it is.
We did come down here tonight to invite you.
Invite us to join us. Us.
Me too.
Sorry, we don't have people over very often.
Well, I knew nothing about this movie. I got invited to a screening. I knew nothing about it. I literally knew nothing. All I knew was it was Olivia Wilde was directing and starring. I knew that Seth Rogan was in it. I didn't even know that Penelope Cruz and Ed Norton were also part of it. Anyone knows me, they know how much I adore Edward Norton. Edward Norton is one of my favorite film actors of all time, and I'll watch anything he's in. And I also really love Seth Rogan. I think he's someone who's really managed to straddle both sort of the writing and the acting, put both writing and acting hats, and he's always really good at what he does. Even if the things that he's in are not that great, he always manages to be the best thing in them. Here, he is extraordinary. He is so funny. So the story. Let's take you through the story first. As you said, it is a remake of Spanish movie called The People Upstairs by Seth Gay, and it's I can tell you that if you're worried about this being one of those remakes that does not work, I can tell you can relax because it really works.
Okay.
This is laugh out loud funny. It's also quietly devastating. It is about a relationship. It's about a marriage that seems to be falling apart. Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogan play Joe and Angela, they live in this really beautiful flat in New York. I think it's New York anyway, and beautiful flat. He's a former guitarist or lead singer in a band in the early 2000s that didn't quite make it. They live in this beautiful house because his parents used to own it, and then he ended up having it. And it's two flats, and they've been building and doing it up slowly and slowly. Angela, his wife, is an artist, but she's a stay-at-home mum. She's also spent the last few years renovating their house. She has great taste in everything, in interior decor. She's a good cook. She does, they have a 12-year-old daughter. She's not at home at that night because she's gone to a sleepover. But so the whole film takes place in one night. And it's a chamber piece, so it's all in one place, and it only has 4 characters in it. Seth Rogen's character Joe arrives home. He's just this kind of like really miserable guy who's now teaching classical music at a lesser university, and complaining about his life. He's got a bad back. His wife's just bought him this really expensive bike that she wants him to ride around town, but he's not interested in doing that. He's just, he's like folding the bike and getting the bus home instead. He's miserable. He's not happy with his life. He spends all of his spare time listening to his records and smoking weed in his office, away from them. Their relationship is just not working. As he arrives home one evening, she says, we have guests coming. And who are the guests? They're the people from upstairs. They're their upstairs neighbours who live in this kind of similarly shaped house. So it's like 2 flats put together. And Joe is absolutely like, he doesn't want them because he says they are terrible neighbors. They're very noisy, and the noises they make at night, if you know what I mean, are driving him nuts. He hates them. He doesn't want anything to do with them. He's been meaning to say to them how awful and how disrespectful they have been, but she invited them for a night in. And then we follow as things unravel when Pina, played by Penelope Cruz, and Hawk, played by Ed Norton, arrive, and they couldn't be more different to them if they tried. I'm going to leave it there because it's better to discover what goes on afterwards. This is, as I say, a chamber piece, and it's just 4 people, and it's very, very, very dialogue heavy. But I must say the dialogue is so good. It's so funny. And they must have just learned so much. I think there's a ton of ad-libbing as well. You get that kind of feeling that there's a ton of ad-libbing and a ton of sort of just flowy conversation going on. Just so well done. It just reminded me so much of those kind of old, like 1980s, late 70s, like relationship films, relationship stories. Like a bit Woody Allen-y, kind of thing. I really love this, and it's laugh out loud, and it like not just Seth Rogen, everyone is funny in it. Penelope Cruz, Edward Norton, really funny. Olivia Wilde, really funny. Her direction is precise, really well done. I have nothing bad to say about this movie, to my complete surprise, because I've not been a huge fan of like, I mean, I liked her first movie, but again, like, if Olivia Wilde had been a man, everyone would have been like very complimentary of her movies. Coming from acting to directing is a very difficult thing to do. Anyway, I really loved this. I think it's really well done. I have not seen the original. Before writing my review, I'm going to go and watch the original movie. It's completely passed me by. The writing is done by Will McCormack and Rashida Jones. Fabulous stuff. Yeah, everything about this movie is just really on point, and the casting is just perfect. And if I love all of those people, and it was really delightful to be spending 2 full hours. Well, actually, it was maybe 1 hour 50, and it doesn't get boring. I know sometimes when you say, "Oh, it's like a chamber." A piece, and it's like it's all it's only 4 characters all riffing off each other, and some people can be put off because it can feel a bit stagey. I don't really mind it feeling a bit stagey, but this is actually really, really well done and really fun, and like, you don't get bored watching it. That's it.
Fantastic. I haven't seen either of her first 2 films, Olivia Wilde, but this sounds great. And it's funny you saying stagey, because reading up on it and seeing the poster, what it reminded me, or what thought popped into my head, was the stage play in Birdman, which was got Ed Norton in it. Where you got those 2 couples sort of bickering across the table. Yeah. And
I adored Ed Norton. Just want him to be in more movies, really.
Yeah, it's funny because he plays such sort of horrible people that it feels you sort of sometimes maybe it's just me, but you sort of mix up the person and the character, and you're like, oh, I don't like Ed Norton movies, and then you realize how many of them you absolutely love, because
he's
so
well,
good.
apparently, I hear that he is just one of the nicest people around. Really,
I can imagine,
really sweet and nice to work with, and like an older brother or sort of a dad.
Yeah, and I really like seeing Seth. I know this is a comedy, but doing more sort of serious, adult comedy stuff, or just straight drama. Like, you look at his CV over the last few years, he's done more of this. Like, obviously, The Long Shot was fabulous, and
The Studio. I mean, come on.
The Fabelmans, linking up with a certain director who will come up later in the show, and he's done some really, really. Steve Jobs, he was fabulous in Steve Jobs. So yeah, really,
he's great. He's great, and his laugh is infectious, and like, you can't help but laugh when he's laughing. So I really liked him. I liked him in this, and I liked everyone in it. Really,
fantastic.
I have nothing bad to say about this movie at all.
And you say it's out in about a month's time.
I have a feeling it's out in about a month's time. I think, let me carry on talking, and I'll tell you when it's out.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I say, the only person I haven't praised is really Penelope Cruz, and she's done some fabulous work as well. I wonder if there's a connection there, because she is Spanish, is she not?
She is Spanish,
yeah.
Spanish,
Maybe she brought the
project. It's out on the 3rd of July, 2026. So less than a month, let's say, like 3 weeks.
Well, fantastic. That's something to look out for and to look forward to. Coming to the box offices very soon. Fabulous. Thank you very much, Linda.
You.
Meet me in the foyer.
Time for a bit of movie news, I think. And in the movie news this week, the man who never seems to stop working, and I remain grateful for that, and always has at least 3 projects on the go, Mr. Ridley Scott is reportedly set to direct a new adaptation of Robert Louis Stevenson's classic story Treasure Island. Having already been adapted over 50 times for film and television, including the 1950 Robert Newton starring Benchmark, to the Disney animated reimagining Treasure Planet with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and the pinnacle of any story's adaptation, the Muppet version from 1996, starring Tim Curry, Billy Connolly and Jennifer Saunders, plus Kevin Bishop. It'll be interesting to see what Scott will bring to this tale, but shiver my timbers, shipmates, I look forward to finding out what treasure he'll be hiding in this Hugh Jackman starring shanty. No news, of course, as to when that's coming out yet, because they haven't even started filming it. I'm not even sure they've written it, but regardless, it's Ridley Scott, so I'll be looking forward to that. Naomi Aki is in final talks to appear in a sequel. Yes, the star of Rise of Skywalker, Mickey 17, Blink Twice, and I Love Boosters is in final talks to star in It Follows sequel, They Follow, opposite, now, is it Mayaki Monroe?
Yeah.
Oh, nailed it.
Yes.
Monroe, who herself is established.
I think It Follows is one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
Wow.
I don't know how they're going to work. It's really properly scary. I don't think you're going to want to see it.
That must be why it passed me by completely.
Yeah, it's very, very good. I really love that movie.
Oh, wow. Well, those two will be appearing in that, and cameras are set to roll this summer. So should be out, I would guess, next year.
Who's making it? Which studio is making it? Do you know?
I don't know. I believe A24 is distributing it, but I'm not sure who's making it.
No, A24 would be making it if it's distributing it.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah.
And finally, news is that Rodney Rothman, Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and Neil H. Moritz are getting the band back together to go undercover once more on Jump Street, as Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill, and Ice Cube are all returning, reviving a TV series no one really watched in the first place. The first two films were pretty good, but it's been 12 years since 22 Jump Street. They've decided to skip 23 and go straight to 24 Jump Street, and maybe another appearance for Diev. We'll have to wait and see. And that'll be out later this year. And that is the movie news for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
The day has come, and now I can disclose to you, because you all deserve to know the truth and share in the knowledge. The government can no longer hide the truth from us, and here to break the revelatory story news is Linda with a review of perhaps her most anticipated film of the year, Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. Now, listen.
If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you?
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today's.
People have a right to know the truth. It belongs to 7 billion people.
What is it?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I'm gonna show you.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world. All at once.
People keep wondering. Encountering the unknown.
They're coming! They're coming!
They are starved for the truth.
Do you think there could be others?
Why would he make such a vast universe? Yet save it only for us?
I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to this movie. I genuinely, since the moment I knew he was making it, I just knew I was just gonna absolutely love every second of it. And I wasn't let down. Don't listen to other people, because there's kind of like a new way of looking at movies from certain people that have this kind of idea that for a movie to be perfect, it can't be properly mainstream. This is fun, clever, very mainstream, very accessible, and also really, really uplifting to watch a director that I've watched my whole life, that I've been a fan of my whole life. Someone talking about all these young directors who are up and coming, 20-year-olds, 26-year-olds. People forget that once upon a time, Steven Spielberg was a teenage filmmaker. You know, if you've watched The Fabelman, you'll know his full story of how he became a filmmaker. He's someone who has such passion for film, for classic movies, for innovation in movies, and he is responsible for lots of. He learned how to make movies on a shoestring, on how to invent new things to make movies. So if you've been a fan of Spielberg all your life, you know this isn't going to let you down. And I was not let down. I enjoyed every single second of it. There's a lot of build up at the beginning. And so the film is written by David Cope, who's a long time collaborator with Steven Spielberg. You know, I don't need to tell people who are fans of Spielberg will know this. Stars Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson. Very good in it, Eve Hewson, actually. And Carmen Domingo, who I adore, who is good in everything, really, to be honest. And so it's a story that blends alien conspiracy, government secrecy, faith, and the fate of the human race, really. And it does a really fabulous job in it. There are sort of notes of religious, intonation is into it, but like it's not, I wouldn't say it's a film that's trying to shove religion down your throat, and not in any way, shape or form. It follows Margaret Fairchild, played by Emily Blunt, a local television meteorologist. Actually, it's a film that starts, you think that the main character is Josh O'Connor's character, but I think halfway through the first act, you kind of realize that it's both of them, really, not just her, not just him. She's a local television meteorologist whose life is upended when she becomes strangely entangled in this kind of vast, unsettling conspiracy. There is something that it is connecting her to a mystery that a guy called Daniel Kellner, who's played by Josh Connor, who is perfect in this. Really, really, really good. He's a whistleblower who claims to possess evidence that will change the course of human history. And it's aliens, basically. I'm not going to give too much away, actually. I'm probably going to leave it there. Eve Hewson plays his love interest, Jane, who's got somewhat of a really checkered past, a really interesting past. Colin Firth is the villain of the piece. Whether he stays a villain of the piece all the way through, that's another question. Carmen Domingo is a former government official who is now a leader of a group of insurgents. And this movie has everything, really. It has aliens. It has, Spielberg kind of like childlike wonder about things that we don't know and things that we should know, and aliens, and there's a bits of E.T. There's also an adventure kind of like tone to it. Like there's Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a lot in it that's harks back to his earlier stuff, and it's really well done. Performances are brilliant. I think Emily Blunt's gonna probably win an Oscar for this because she is so good. She is so good. Josh O'Connor has this kind of he has the ability of putting in performances that seem kind of normal, but then when you think about them, when you think who he is and where he's come from, and you realize how much out of his kind of comfort he is, you realize how much of a good actor he is as well. But, this is so well done and so fun, and I was not bored for a second during this. There is a really brilliant score from John Williams, and even after decades of collaborating with Spielberg, you get the feeling that he's found new ways of storytelling with music, and I've really, as I say, like there are also references to other movies about aliens made by Spielberg. I won't say which. I mean, for a very long time, people were saying, it's a follow-up to Close Encounters. It's not exactly a follow-up to Close Encounters, but there are things in it that are very similar. I feel like in an era where there is, like, the cinemas are crowded by franchises and formulaic summer blockbusters, Spielberg reminds us that he is still the greatest storyteller of our time, and mainstream storyteller, I have to say, of our time. And he's someone who is able to work in different genres all the time, someone who is at home in drama and sort of frivolous comedy. I have nothing but admiration towards him, and seeing certain reviewers saying that he's lost the plot or this isn't really his best work, it's actually quite really flabbergasting to me, because this was not my experience of watching the movie. And I don't just say that because I'm a fan of his. I just think it's a film that succeeds because it is emotionally rich. It is able to wake up things in you that you thought you'd forgotten, like having been brought up by his movies, like, as I say, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., all of those movies. I had forgotten how much I loved the way he told those stories, and in complete sort of wonderment, complete giddiness of what's going to happen. And I will never apologize for loving his way of making movies, and he makes me love cinema. And that's all I have to say, really. To be honest with you, I just go and see the movie. It's really good. It's great.
Yep, no, fabulous. I have to agree. I was very lucky to go and see this last night with my partner, and
I'm so glad.
It was absolutely brilliant. To me, I would say, I might go as far as to say it's flawless. It was so good.
One of his best films of the last 20 years, right?
I'd say it's his best film since Minority Report, which was back in 2002. I'm a huge Spielberg fan, but I have to say his films in that period I've been a little bit questionable about. I look back at his filmography as you were talking, and all of the films in between, I think, good bits, but not amazing.
West Side Story was great.
Fabulous.
West Side Story is great.
I have to admit that's the one film in the list I haven't seen. But
really
this was just brilliant. As
Munich,
you said,
I thought Munich was great.
A lot of people do say Munich. I mentioned that actually last night coming out of the cinema, that a lot of people do refer to Munich. I found that a bit slow, a little bit unengaging. Whereas this, I thought, was perfectly paced. Your mind never wanders. Because it's 2 hours and a bit, but it's
2 hours 25.
Brilliantly acted. I'm not sure. I don't think Blunt will get an Oscar for it, but purely because of it being a mainstream movie that the Academy might sort of shy away from awarding.
Oh, not at all. It's a Spielberg movie. It will get nominated. Trust me.
But I thought Josh O'Connor was superb. He was the best actor in it, but everyone was brilliant.
I thought Emily Blunt just nudged it a bit. I think she's perfect in this movie.
You're certainly right that
just incredible.
she becomes the main character. You're 100% right on that. As you say, it starts, you think Josh is the main character, and then she becomes it. And yeah, just a wonderful, wonderful movie. A huge, fantastic entertainment. Yeah, I highly recommend it. No criticisms at all when I came out. Brilliant.
5 out of 5 stars for me. I'm so glad we're on the same, I'm so happy that you saw it, and I'm so happy that you agree with me, because I genuinely could not believe when I saw that some people hadn't really gelled with it. And what were they expecting? It's a summer blockbuster from one of the greatest filmmakers of our time, of all time, not just our time. I don't know what people expect from him.
Well, no, I mean, people will, as we know, the times we live in, people will hate anything. You'll find just as many people hating on something as loving something, despite it being brilliant. But yeah, as I'm totally in agreement with you. I don't know what they found to not like about this. The reveal at the end is fabulous. That whole final act is brilliant. So well done. No sort of gawky moments, no big nods to past works, although little subtle hints of his past works, and ends fabulously. So yeah, absolutely brilliant film. If this isn't the film of the summer, I'll be hugely surprised about. Although the other potential film of the summer was trailered just before it, which is of course Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But
let's see. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Both of them doing well. So
no, absolutely not. No, yeah, huge recommend from me, and it sounds like a huge recommend from Linda.
Oh, brilliant! I'm so glad that we agree on this, because I was worried.
No, wonderful film. Wow, fantastic! So that sounds like would you go as far as 5 stars, Linda? Do you give out 5 stars very often?
Oh yeah. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on my review for Hey You Guys. Yeah, 5 stars.
Brilliant. No,
so nothing bad to say about this movie. It made me feel things I thought I would never feel again when it comes to like Spielberg and this kind of I remember very well watching, not being allowed to watch a Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because there was a little bit of swearing. I was really, really young the first time I watched it, because it was on TV, and like begging to watch, and I just that feeling of like, oh my God, I've seen like my favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
And then afterwards E.T. and and all of that stuff. And he's someone who's always made me dream about cinema, made me dream about the possibility of telling stories that really make you feel like a childlike again,
Yeah, it really felt like the master of cinema saying, "Oh, you've had a few doubts about me. Well, watch this," and just absolutely knocking it out of the park. And little, as you say, little hints of Close Encounters, which is another masterpiece of cinema. The one thing that sort of struck a chord with me as you were talking was I didn't actually notice the score. It's one of John Williams' sort of most subtle scores, I think. I didn't notice it at all, but that's not a criticism. I just was so engrossed that it just,
Well, I suppose because I knew I was reviewing it, and I had written on because I take a notebook to the screenings. I had written in one of my things, pay attention to the score. So when you remind yourself to pay attention to the score, you have to, I guess,
Yeah. And I would say, final thing, because in movies like this, big action sort of adventure blockbusters, no WTF moments at all, which is always sort of the weak point of these films, where you go, well, why have they done that? None of that. Brilliant movie. Absolutely.
I really loved all that. No spoilers, but there was one particular thing where, let's just say, they're about to get caught, and then they do something really brilliant, and it's filmed so well. You know the bit towards
I think I do know
end.
the bit you mean. Yeah.
It's so well done that it genuinely made me like go, yes. I was just like, I was going, oh my God, I can't believe he did this. And it's so perfectly done, to the point where I was wondering how it was going to fit. I'm not going to go on. I think I might actually talk about that bit next week or the week after everyone has got to see it, and then I can tell you which bit I was impressed with the most.
Well, that's a good idea. We should do a spoiler-tastic review of Disclosure Day. No, wonderful. Well, it's a hard recommend from both of us if you're heading to the box office, as many, many millions of you, I hope, will, because it's a brilliant, brilliant Spielberg film, a real masterclass from the master storyteller himself. Thank you very much, Linda. Wonderful.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, it's time now for another of Jawa's classic movie moments, and this week, I'll be honest, I moved house 2 days ago, and I didn't manage to watch my planned classic movie. However, last week, I forgot what year it is, and mistakenly watched a classic movie that I should have reviewed last year. So this week, I'll be talking about a film celebrating its 46th anniversary, a very special 46th anniversary, as I'm on a mission from God to bring you into the family of the Blues Brothers.
Well, what are you guys going to do? The same act? You wear the same cactus suits? You'll scare people away. Thank you.
You are such a disappointing pair.
I'm going to become a priest.
You contemptible pig.
You gotta learn not to talk to nuns that way.
White men, white women, the swastika is calling you.
Ho, 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 ho. No problem.
Back to that same old place, sweet home, Chicago.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God. You just tell us where they are, and there'll be no trouble. Use of unnecessary violence in the apprehension of the Blues Brothers has been approved.
Are you the police?
No, ma'am. We're musicians.
The Blues Brothers is a 1980 musical action comedy directed by John Landis. It stars Joliet Jake Blues and his brother Elwood, characters developed from the recurring musical sketch The Blues Brothers on NBC's variety series Saturday Night Live. It's set in Chicago, Illinois, where it was filmed, with a screenplay by Aykroyd and Landis. It features musical numbers by singers James Brown, Cab Calloway, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, and John Lee Hooker, to name just a few. Its story is a tale of redemption for paroled convict Jake and his brother Elwood, who set out on a mission from God to prevent the foreclosure of the Roman Catholic orphanage in which they were raised. To do so, they must reunite their rhythm and blues band and organise a performance to earn $5,000 needed to pay the orphanage's property tax bill. Along the way, they are targeted by a homicidal mystery woman, neo-Nazis, and a country and western band, all while being relentlessly pursued by the police. So, it stars John Belushi as Joliet Jake Blues, Dan Aykroyd as Elwood J Blues, James Brown as Reverend Cleophas James, Cab Calloway as Curtis, Ray Charles as Ray, Aretha Franklin as Mrs. Murphy, Steve the Colonel Cropper as a member of the Blues Brothers, Donald Duck Dunn as the bass guitarist of the Blues Brothers, Murphy Dunn as the keyboard player, Willie Too Big Hall as the drummer, Tom Bones Malone as the saxophonist, Blue Lou Marini as the second saxophonist, Matt Guitar Murphy as lead guitar, Mr. Fabulous Alan Rubin as the trumpet player, Carrie Fisher as Jake's former fiancée, John Candy as Burton Mercer, their parole officer, Henry Gibson as the head of the Nazi party of Illinois, Twiggy as a cameo, John Lee Hooker as Street Slim, Kathleen Freeman as Sister Mary Stigmata, and Frank Oz as the corrections officer at Jake's prison. So as I said at the top, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd created the characters of the Blues Brothers for Saturday Night Live, um, with Howard Shore actually coming up with the idea for the name. And then Aykroyd went away and developed the backstory of the characters and sketches in collaboration with Ron Gwynn, who's got a story consultant credit on the film. So the brothers grew up in an orphanage and then went off to form their rhythm and blues band, but unfortunately ended up on the wrong side of the law. And we start the film with Jake getting parole from prison after 3 years. It has this sort of religious tones and metaphors throughout the film. And as Jake is released from prison to his waiting brother across the road, the prison gates open and this sort of glow of sunlight blasts out through the doors, and here comes Jake, like Christ, sort of resurrected as he walks out. It's one of my favorite films of all time. I'm going to have to adjust my background actually because I neglected to include it. I've watched it so many times I can't even count. I absolutely love this film. I don't actually remember when I first saw it, but it was probably when I was about 11 or 12, and the Blues Brothers stage show was touring the country, and everyone went to see it and came back and said, "Oh, it's amazing! You got to go! You got to go!" And I was very interested until I heard that there was sort of compulsory participation and you had to get up and dance, and I was like, "Oh, okay, not for me." So I didn't go and see it, but I did watch the film and just fell in love with it. And I consider it one of the funniest films, if not my favorite comedy of all time, in a sort of head-to-head battle with The Life of Brian, those two going head-to-head each time. But it's not only one of the funniest, it's got incredible music. It's got one of the greatest soundtracks of all time, and not just a soundtrack, but a lot of these soul, blues, rhythm and blues players actually appear in the film and make cameos and perform their songs, including the ones I've already mentioned, like John Lee Hooker and Aretha Franklin and Cab Calloway and James Brown. It's just brilliant. The minute it starts, my toes are tapping. I'm just sort of filled with joy at how brilliant this film is, and just hooked every time. Plus, it features some of the greatest car chases ever to put on film. A lot of the musicians that I listed in the credits there are some of the greatest musicians of all time. You know, you've got Steve Cropper and Donald Dunn, who are both part of the Stax Records bands. You've got some of the members of Booker T and the MGs. You've got members of the Blood, Sweat and Tears band, members of the Saturday Night Live band. You've got the drummer Willie Hall is from the Bar-Kays, and back to Isaac Hayes. It goes on and on and on. You know, Matt Guitar Murphy played with Memphis Slim and Howlin' Wolf. Just an incredible array of stars, and put to brilliant use. Absolutely fantastic. Apparently, Aykroyd wrote the script himself, but he'd never written a script, and he had no one to collaborate with and no guide to how to do it. So he went away for 6 months, delaying the start of the film, and came back with this film that was 3 times the length of a normal script that he knew was too long. So he bound it in a sort of Yellow Pages cover as a joke and handed it over to the studio. And John Landis then had to spend a fortnight reducing it down to a sort of filmable length. The film went massively over budget because of the size of the script and was late, but Landis brought it home in one of his best works. And despite it being a very simple story, two guys need to put on a concert to raise money, and that's it. It just rolls on, steamrolls on throughout the film with, as I say, with car chases linking to musical numbers, linking to comedy numbers. It's got brilliant dialogue, loads of fantastic physical comedy, and as I say, the musical performances are just mind-blowing. I've already mentioned some of the cameos in it, as Twiggy appears. Steven Spielberg appears again, as he has a cameo at the end of the film. Frank Oz, the Muppeteer, appears at the start of the film, which is a brilliant scene because he's listing Jake Blue's possessions as he returns them before he leaves prison, and he describes the Blues Brothers' outfit: one hat, black; one pair of trousers, black; one suit jacket, black; one tie, black; one pair of sunglasses, black. Just a really brilliant establishing scene. And at this point, we haven't seen Jake's face at all. We've just sort of seen his hands and his feet, and as he walks out, a lovely gag when he's drumming on the counter with his hands, and you can see Jake tattooed on his knuckles, and then you cut outside to his brother coming to pick him up, and he's got Elwood tattooed across his knuckles, but of course it's too long, so he's got the last two letters tattooed on his other hand. Just brilliant. The pair of them, Aykroyd and Belushi, are on at top form. It's mostly a Aykroyd baby because he wrote it, but you couldn't do this without Belushi. He brings that character to life, and despite him being a thoroughly reprehensible person, there's something about Belushi that's just so lovable. That there's a scene near the end where he faces off against his fiancée and he takes off his glasses and he just begs her not to kill him, and you just can't help but love him. He's like a little sort of stupid dog who's just made a mess on your carpet, but you can't hold it against him. And one final cameo, Paul Rubens makes an appearance, but that's not a celebrity cameo because that's actually pre-fame. So as I say, filmed in and around Chicago, Illinois. The filming was not only delayed by the script, but also by Belushi's private life, shall we say, his social activities, including copious drug use. And but the film was brought home, and it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, it features one of the biggest car chases of all time. It ends with a scene that features 500 extras, and they use 13 different police cars just for the Blues Brothers, and then they destroy hundreds of police cars in the end scene. It actually, because of the delays and the budget issues, it opened very small and in far fewer cinemas than would normally happen. But it ended up becoming a box office success, but even more a cult movie in later years. It's gained more and more of a cult presence, to the point, as I say, that when the touring production went around in the early 90s, our village that I grew up in used to do a village fair every year, and groups were encouraged to come in costume in the theme of the year. And one year was musicals, and our scout troop went as the Blues Brothers, as we all marched around the village with the soundtrack blasting out, wearing our fedoras and our shades. And I might share an embarrassing photo of that if I can find it. It's got a 72% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is scandalously low. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, saying it has energetic musical numbers and incredible car chases. And he's not wrong. And Siskel actually gave it one of his rare 4 out of 4 star reviews, calling it technically superb and the best movie ever made in Chicago. Which I don't know how high or low that bar
praised.
As I said, it's got a fantastic soundtrack. It's actually the second Blues Brothers album, because they'd already released a live album prior to this. Because what I didn't appreciate really as a child is that Aykroyd and Belushi are performing on all of these numbers, not just singing, but playing some instruments, especially the harmonica. And I think the best thing about it is they really commit. They really commit to these roles. They're up there dancing, they're comedic, they're doing physical stunts. Just absolutely brilliant. It opens with a scene, as I say, as the sun's rising and a helicopter is flying across Chicago, and it's an industrial city, so it's dark, there's chimney stacks, there's smoke, there's pollution. It kind of reminds me of the opening of Blade Runner, weirdly, but it's not set in the future. It's set in, well, now the past, but at the time the present. It starts, the opening musical number is probably about 10 minutes into the film, and up to that point it's largely silent, apart from the banging on the radio for the first car chase. And James Brown takes us through the first musical number, and he's absolutely genius. There's a scene at the beginning where they get their mission from God, which when they go to see the nun who raised them, and Sister Stigmata, who they call the Penguin. And that scene never fails to reduce me to tears. Absolutely brilliant, as they continue to blaspheme, and she just is hitting them harder and quicker with a ruler constantly as they continue to blaspheme again and again and again. And you've got John Belushi trapped in one of those American school desks that he can't get himself out of because of his size. Yeah, it's just brilliant. It's one of my most watched films, as I've said. Probably seen it well over 20, maybe 30 times. Always love the music, always reduced to tears by how funny it is. The scene in the country bunker is sublime when they turn up and take a country and western band's job and just play Rawhide for 2 hours. The performance at the Palace Hotel Ballroom, Route 16, Lake Wazapamani, is sublime. Just one of the greatest musical numbers in cinema, I would say. And like I said, I think it might be the funniest movie ever made, but opinions differ, and people have told me quite firmly that they do differ with me on that opinion. But anyway, I think it features the best car chase since The French Connection and Bullet. So if you haven't seen the Blues Brothers, catch it now before ex-girlfriends, the good old boys, the Illinois Nazis, or the State Troopers, or the Chicago Police catch them first. So that's the Blues Brothers.
Brilliant. I haven't seen it in a very long time, so it's not. I mean, I am aware of its cult status, obviously, and I tend to agree that it's a really great movie. But I must admit that I haven't really wanted to see it again at any point. But I might catch it if it's being shown on TV.
You really should. You really should. You know, if the comedy doesn't work for you, the musical numbers should. And
no, it does. It does work. It does work for me. But I, you know, there are some movies that are so like that like. People are really so much in love with them that I feel like, oh God, you know. But yeah, no, I get it.
And I should mention actually that they did make a sequel in 1998 called Blues Brothers 2000, and I'll only mention it to say, don't bother watching it. It's awful. So stay away from that one.
About that.
Let's not remember. Let's forget about that. Well, unfortunately, that's the end of our time out on parole, but. Please do come and see us again when visiting hours reopen next week, where we'll bring you further film adventures and promise to meet you in the foyer again. Linda and I are about to make a break for it, but if you keep watching, remember you can support our fund to find a lawyer to lead our appeal by subscribing to our Patreon account, where you'll find all our shows in Director's Cut extended form. The show can be found on Acast, Spotify, YouTube, and live on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on Rock and Roll Radio. So like, listen, or even listen, like, subscribe. Tell your friends, and with good behaviour, we might be released in time for next week's show. So it just remains for me to say thank you, Linda, for your wonderful reviews and company as always. A pleasure. And until next time, take care and goodbye.
Adios. Bye.
Subscribe now to help fans supporting food banks. Go to patreon.com/Rock and Roll Radio and look for your favourite club subscription pages and sign up with your favourite presenter. Rock and Roll Radio. No adverts, no VAR, no limits.
Meet me in the foyer.